Welcome back to Enshrouded, everyone. Today we have some very exciting news from the developers about the water biome update. At least it's exciting for most of us. Maybe it will disappoint some people because, long story short, they had to delay the release date by a little bit. It is now coming on November 10th, when it was originally supposed to come in October. But I think we can all agree that we'd rather them take their time and perfect everything so that we can have the best experience possible when the update goes live. And from what they shared today, it sounds like they have a lot that they are cooking up for us. So I'm going to go ahead and react to the video that they shared today with a whole bunch of updates and share my thoughts on it and everything, point out some new little things that you may have missed. Let's jump in.
Hey Flameborn, I'm Christoph from Keen, and I'm Senior Game Designer for Enshrouded. I'm here to share some news about our next update, Wake of the Water. As you know, Enshrouded has hundreds of cool items like weapons, shields, armors, rings, ammunition,
they've got
food,
a lot to
and
share
other
today.
consumables. After a year and a half of piling on systems and items, we've taken a breather to get a good look at how our systems interact, and we identified areas where we can improve Enshrouded. So let's dig in and talk itemization.
Yeah, and this is really great because a lot of us have wanted some other improvements in quality of life stuff. It sounds like we're going to get a lot more than we originally anticipated for. This is by far, I think, their biggest update that they have ever done.
First of all, we have reviewed all weapons in the game.
Yeah.
Many weapons have names and visuals that convey a certain fantasy, a theme. But when we checked their stats, they didn't really line up in many cases. A good example of this are the ice-coated daggers.
So a bit of a combat overhaul with this
whose
update.
Cool name and visuals imply ice damage. Currently, however, they only deal cut and pierce damage.
Yeah.
So after our overhaul, they will now deal pierce and ice damage.
This is awesome. Super, super cool. So pretty much an entire rework of weapons, armor, all of that good stuff. Really, really happy to be seeing this already in the next update.
Along with gaining extra ice damage perks when upgrading them. And this is just one example out of many. Across the board, we made sure that weapon stats will now better match their visual and thematic identities than ever before, to be honest.
Combat nerds will go crazy.
Many armor and ring stats, as well as food items. So make sure to check out all of the exciting new changes coming with Update 7.
Oh, this is amazing. Ooh, look at that. We have a little, right at the bottom here, a little anvil or something that's placeable. I'm noticing that already right off the bat. That is something new in this little clip that they shared today. But yeah, it sounds like all kinds of tweaks to a lot of things, which is really, really exciting. Obviously, there's not a whole lot we can do to really prepare for many of these changes at the moment because they obviously are not here yet. I did just post a video on my channel of what you can do to prepare for the water biome if you want things to do to pass the time and get ready. So be sure to check that out. I'll leave it in the description. But anyway, let's keep watching.
We also had a close look at weapon durability and increased it across the board.
That's
durability
awesome.
now also scales with item level and with item rarity.
Oh, this is great.
Also note that just like with previous changes to dropped items, weapons that you already acquired in the game will retain their existing stats.
All right. Yeah, so maybe like create a big arsenal of weapons that you already have because you may never be able to find them again in the game. If you want to prep by creating like a museum or something like that, could be something to consider. I think these changes are for the better. I'm actually really looking forward to this. Yeah, that's going to be awesome. Having better durability, especially with item levels as you upgrade it. That's going to be really, really nice.
New and improved stats will only apply to equipment obtained after Update 7 releases. We're bringing another pretty significant change to Enshrouded's itemization by allowing players to craft any lore weapon they previously...
All right, so this is going to be awesome. So if you haven't found, weapons that you really want, you're going to be able to craft all of them. With all of these new crafting items, though, I wonder, I'm not seeing it right in here, are they going to have a search system for the inventory? Because the more we get, and this goes along with props and blocks and all kinds of new materials, as we get all kinds of new stuff with the water biome, this is something that we're really going to need is an inventory search system of some kind, because oftentimes I'll remember the name of something, I don't remember where it is or want to scroll down through all of this. I really love this update, but I think it needs to come with a search system at some point. Another big thing right in here on this screen, we now have a better axe and a better pickaxe. These were the steel ones that are currently the best in the game. But yeah, we're gonna have like some gold style of axe and pickaxe. I wonder how these are gonna work. And you can also see here with the axe that is in the crafting recipe now, we have gold bars. So yes, it is confirmed that you can make gold bars. As far as a trading currency and how it might work with NPCs and all of that stuff, not quite sure yet, but we know where we can mine it all over the ground. There's tons of gold everywhere with the water biome update. But yeah, we do have that confirmed now, gold bars and some newer tools, more upgraded, which is really cool.
At any stage in the game. We know, for instance, that many of you love the light-emitting whaling blade that can be found in a lore quest line in the early game. With update 7, you can actually craft a higher level version of the light emitting whaling blade once you have outleveled the previous version.
So I guess to unlock recipes then for the lore weapons and stuff, we currently, it looks like, at least based on what he's saying, that we have to level them up already to like a max level, and then we unlock a recipe to then be able to craft a even higher level one in the next tier. I'm not sure if they're all just innately going to be unlocked or if they unlock as we find them from loot chests. I'm not sure all the details on that just yet, but yeah, definitely an interesting rework there.
Of it. There will be craftable lore weapons for every weapon type, supporting all classes and all playstyles.
Yeah,
this will also help those players who are forever unlucky with RNG and cannot seem to find the right weapon they are looking for. We have also added many new awesome weapons to the drop pools of enemies. From the Fell Thunderbrute Greatsword to the Scavenger's fearsome...
Great swords that are now going to be available right off the bat in game. And of course, yeah, they're introduced entirely with the water biome update, but right off the bat, you can already be getting great swords and have that for your combat style, which I really like. That's awesome.
Acid Cleaver, a whole host of these weapons can now be looted from defeated foes. Enemy weapon drops will now scale with enemy level and range in rarity from common all the way up to legendary.
Yeah, because previously it was kind of like we were just kind of dismantling or refunding a lot of the weapons later game because they didn't really scale. It was a bit random. They did and they didn't. I think some of them scale, but yeah, it sounds like they're really focused on making this great.
Now that there are many more options for obtaining weapons at all stages in the game, we feel like it's a good time to finally close the loop on a long-running loot exploit.
This might disappoint some people.
Loot chests will now save their looted state, which means players won't be able to reload the game or restart the server to try their luck again.
So this, I wonder how this is going to affect a lot of the resource servers, especially the ones that are kind of hosted online. Obviously, if you do backups of your own world and have your own resource server, which a lot of us do for building and stuff. I've started using one now with endgame building just to get a bunch of resources really quick. Kind of the closest thing we currently have to creative mode. By the way, they do have creative mode planned for spring of 2026, so that'll be coming, which will be exciting. But yeah, I wonder how this is going to affect those resource servers if chests no longer are regenerating or able to be set on that timer with like a refresh. Sounds like they will regenerate their loot eventually, but it's in-game time rather than just automatically refreshing the world and then they're regenerated. And basically what he's saying here, as far as I understand, is that rather than being randomized loot in the chest each time, each chest will basically save that loot that's in it, and that's what will respawn in that chest eventually, which is actually really nice because that will allow for, people like me and other creators and stuff to do tutorials on, oh, hey, you want to find this weapon to be able to unlock its recipe or craft? Go to this chest and you'll find it there, rather than having the chest sort of randomized with different loot every time. So this actually could be a good change in the long run. I think it'll just, it'll have to have some workarounds for all the resource servers and people who host those.
However, will respawn eventually.
Yeah.
Just as we had originally intended.
Yeah. So it's always been a little thing.
We often heard revolved around players wanting to start out as mages, but feeling that there's a lack of support for mages in the early game.
Yeah.
We hear you, and
yeah, I always recommend people do a tank build early game and then switch to mage later. But this is actually really great because I love playing a mage, and
we agree with you.
Stuff.
That's why we introduced a new spell with update 7, Firebolt, which is a single target, quick casting spell that can be crafted with minimal requirements.
Oh, perfect.
Ensuring that as soon as you find bones and resin, you can craft your first staff and your first spell.
Oh, this is great. So I wonder if it's going to be infinite, or if it's going to be, yeah, like an eternal spell, or if it's going to be we have to craft them from the resin and stuff to have individual ones. Doesn't look like it's AoE, which I really like. It's going to be the first like fire spell that's just, cheap on mana to use, direct hit and everything, which I think is great for early game. Doesn't feel overpowered, but that gives the mages definitely another option for sure. That's great.
Finally. Currently, Enshrouded offers a lot of options to basically just shrug off many combat encounters because regeneration is very high, especially in the mid and late game. So
we're pretty overpowered.
Think that this makes Enshrouded's combat somewhat less interesting because players will often just retreat from heated combat situations, take a little break, and then continue on fighting shortly after with fill resources, just because of their passive regeneration.
Yeah.
By reducing HP regeneration, we're aiming to make health management an issue
a big difference.
You have to prepare for ahead of time by crafting potions, eating appropriate meals, and so on.
Yep. Which it could add a little bit of a grind to the game, but it's so easy to get resources and things in Enshrouded. Everything does respawn outside of Flame Altar, and I think honestly, at least for a lot of my friends who really enjoy the farming aspect, the crafting aspect, things like this, I'm not going to be able to go in and not eat my food anymore. I'm going to have consequences now is essentially what I'm trying to say. So you guys are going to have to remind me to eat when I go into battle as soon as the water biome launches. Basically health potions, good food, all of that. They're making that more important, which I like because that gives you more reason to sort of stay around your base. This doesn't look crazy. I'm sure they'll get some player feedback and keep tweaking little things with patches after the initial update. But yeah, this is definitely going to be a different experience from what we have right now of just this like infinite, really, really fast regen. Right now I'm a mage with maxed out water aura, and that in combination with like health regen armor and everything with all the intelligence that I get from my armor, health and mana regen are insanely fast. I can just spam the most expensive spell over and over and over again, which is great. But it kind of takes the strategy out of the combat a little bit once you get endgame. It's kind of fun to just be like a complete Giga Chad and just wreck everything. But I don't think that's gonna be very viable now. And I think I like this change. I think it'll be for the better. So yeah, this will be interesting.
Similar reasons, we are also slightly bringing down stamina and mana regeneration values.
So they're tweaking the whole thing.
This also allows us to introduce health, mana, and stamina regeneration to other sources. So that if you want to emphasize these attributes with your character, you will still have options to do that.
That's awesome. And we saw in the a little bit earlier in this video, in that clip where he's showing the rings and the character and stuff, one of the rings of stamina was like +8 stamina regen. And stuff. So it looks like, and I really like that. That allows for more customization. Someone on my Discord server posted the concept of like, even having like a separate cape slot for extra, capes to have their own sort of features. And yeah, it was a very interesting idea because that allows for more character customization between players. Rather than just all being set with this default of, I don't really think the rings do a whole lot. They didn't really feel very powerful until very end game. I used to chuck a lot of the rings I found pretty quickly. So now things like rings and armor and food and potions, I love that they're, making us think just a little more about how we want to use them to customize everything.
Oh, here comes another banger. Update release date! There's no update. Finally, we'd like to share some news about Enshrouded's next update, Wake of the Water. So we have tried as hard as we could to hold ourselves to our October deadline. However, we knew implementing water in the game
This is crazy. Look at this. We literally have like, oh man, they're really fleshing this out. I think we're gonna have a great experience when this launches. And like I said earlier, I really prefer they take their time and do this well. Just look at this. We have individual blocks of water, like the infinite water source concept, and of course we have like the static one where we can fill our bases with them. But like, this is crazy. So it's not only like this big bucket where you flood an area, you can actually like super fine tune where you place the water. You could do a stream or a little waterfall or a trough or something that's 1 block wide. This is incredible. I love this.
Level of quality in that time frame
Look at this.
was going to be a hard challenge. We tried, but
look at how thin that is.
but water always finds a way, and it gets like everywhere, and so do water-related issues. Yeah, it's not easy. Making all of these new features work sometimes feels like trying to shoot an arrow out of the nose.
Okay, and what's that? What's going on right here? So they said initially that we wouldn't be having underwater combat, really. It sounds like, though, with some of the reviews that I've done or Contract or other people, maybe this is now going to be something we can use for underwater combat to fight off enemies. That looked pretty legit, unless it's just some crazy joke, but he was holding some sort of like some sort of an explosive arrow spear in his mouth or something, and shooting it, and it is physically exploding this bit of terrain underwater, which leads me to believe that, yeah, we might have explosives and light sources and all kinds of other things that actually work underwater and are able to mine with the pickaxe and things underwater as well. I wonder, this is interesting though. So I wonder if it'll also damage enemies and things. I bet it probably will.
This is to say that in order to give Wake of the Water all the polish that it needs, we are pushing back the release date by a few weeks to November 10th.
Yep.
Some of you who joked on our Discord about the update releasing on October 42nd.
Yeah, at this rate, we kind of thought it might be delayed a little.
Closer than you thought. So,
but that's cool.
We're kind
November
of
10th, not too long.
So these are just some of the thrilling steps we are taking in Update 7, Wake of the Water. Our team now has multiple developers who are dedicated to all aspects of combat, and it is our goal to keep improving combat in Enshrouded together with your feedback. So we hope you enjoyed this quick dive into the upcoming changes to some of the core systems underpinning Enshrouded. We thank you for your time, and so now it's not just water when, but maybe also new weapons when?
Yeah.
Soon.
Yeah. This is going to be really, really great. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do some of these, changes sort of affect what you currently do or what you play as?
So,
we also have some
regeneration
bloopers.
Balance. Oh, players, you're going to hate this. Oh, please don't on us. Regeneration balance. Here we go. Seriously now. Yes, we're gonna do this for the players. First of all, we have
goes in every direction, just not the correct one.
Yeah. Also, not forget to smile and be chill and cool and yo.
Best explanation of what it's like to be a content creator. Anyway, be sure to subscribe. I'll see y'all next time. Cheers.